Okay, let's jump right in. Have you ever walked into a grocery store, looked at the price tag of something you literally buy all the time, and thought, wait, wasn't this cheaper last week? It's this everyday mystery that hits all of us every single time we open our wallets. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to unpack the chapter, The Price Puzzle, What Drives the Market, and decode those invisible forces that actually dictate the numbers on your receipts.
Just think about these scenarios for a second. What happens if the mangoes you bought just last week are suddenly half the price today? Or, why are fresh veggies kind of pricey in the morning but practically given away in the evening? And don't even get me started on onions. Why do their prices skyrocket and crash every few months? It's not just groceries either. Why does the exact same flight seat cost, say, 3,000 rupees on a Tuesday but shoot up to 9,000 on a Friday? No way that's random, right? And why do malls strategically announce massive discounts only at very specific times of the year? If you've ever felt the frustration or just pure curiosity about this totally unpredictable market, well, you're definitely asking the right questions.
So, when you look at a bustling market, it honestly might just look like beautiful chaos. But actually, scratch that. Prices do not change randomly. They are constantly reacting. They react to what people want, how much of our product is actually available, the changing seasons, festivals, new trends, and yes, sometimes even just rumors. Whether we're talking about snacks, movie tickets, or vegetables, the prices of absolutely all goods and services are driven by two incredibly powerful forces that are constantly interacting. To make perfect sense of all this, here's our game plan for today. First, we'll look at the everyday price puzzle. Then, we'll unpack the law of demand, followed by what actually drives supply. After that, we'll bring them both together in market equilibrium. And finally, we'll look at the government's role in the whole shebang. Let's get started.
Section 1. The Everyday Price Puzzle. Why do prices change? Moving on to Section 2. The Law of Demand. Willingness meets purchasing power.
Let's look at this from your perspective, the consumer. In economics, the exact definition of demand is actually pretty fascinating. It's not just wanting something. Like, I might really desire a luxury sports car, but that doesn't mean I'm actively contributing to the economic demand for it. Demand is the quantity of a product that people are willing and able to buy at a particular price. It depends on your needs, your preferences, your income, and even the seasons. Take mango season, for example. Demand isn't just you craving a mango, it's that willingness directly matched by your purchasing power, meaning having the actual cash in your pocket to buy it right then and there.
So, what happens when prices change? Well, that brings us to the law of demand. Sticking with those mangoes. When the price is sky high at the start of the season, people tend to buy them in much smaller quantities, right? The price goes up, the quantity demanded goes down. But when peak season hits and prices start dropping, people load up their carts. The price falls, the quantity demanded increases. It's a fundamental inverse relationship between the price of a product and its quantity demanded.
Section 3. What drives supply? The producer's dilemma.
But consumers are only half the puzzle. Let's flip the script and look at the seller in the field. Imagine you're a farmer and you're staring down the upcoming planting season. You're constantly checking market prices to decide what to do. On one hand, you see chickpeas currently have a high market price, which means a higher potential profit for you. On the other hand, wheat has a pretty low market price right now, meaning a lower potential profit. So what do? Naturally, you're going to plant more chickpeas next season. This perfectly highlights how high market prices directly incentivize producers to supply more of a specific good. They're constantly doing the math to survive and maximize their returns based on these market signals.
It gets even more fascinating when we add time into the mix. Producers don't just look at today's prices, they're looking at tomorrow's. If suppliers expect a huge boom in demand in the near future, they'll actually change their behavior today. For instance, if potato wholesalers expect prices to spike during an upcoming festival, they might actually hold back their supply right now. They'll store the potatoes in a warehouse just so they can sell them later at those higher expected prices. This means a producer's mere prediction about the future can artificially lower the supply today, shifting prices all over again. It's like a giant puzzle.
Section 4. Finding market equilibrium, where forces meet.
All right, this brings us to the climax of our market interaction. It's where the push of buyers trying to score a bargain and the pull of sellers trying to make a profit finally collide. Economists, businesses, and honestly, even everyday buyers and sellers are constantly analyzing data. They're looking at charts and market trends to track these super dynamic conditions and find that exact sweet spot. And that sweet spot actually has a name: market equilibrium. It's this precise state that happens when the exact quantity demanded by consumers perfectly equals the exact quantity supplied by producers. But
Here is the absolutely crucial thing to keep in mind. This balance, it doesn't last forever. It is highly dynamic. Markets are constantly adjusting toward a new equilibrium because conditions literally change every single day. Think about it. A sudden change in weather, a breakthrough in technology, a crazy new viral trend, or just a shift in people's incomes will instantly disrupt this balance and create entirely new pricing conditions.
Section 5. The government's role, the ultimate referee. So what happens when this perfect free market balance just totally breaks down? Well, sometimes the invisible hand of the market needs a very visible referee. A government typically intervenes when markets simply fail to produce fair outcomes. If an equilibrium price for a basic necessity shoots so high that essentials become completely unaffordable for everyday people, the government steps in. They also intervene to prevent the underprovision of public goods, things we all need but the free market might not find profitable enough to provide. And, for sure, they step in to stop the rise of monopolies, where one giant seller controls everything and can just set prices however unfairly they want.
However, economics is all about trade-offs. Our source material points out a really significant risk here. While intervention is often absolutely necessary to protect welfare, excessive government regulations can have some pretty adverse effects. If a government artificially distorts prices way too much, it removes that incentive we talked about earlier. For example, if strict price controls mean farmers can't earn adequate returns, well, they just won't invest in better seeds, new irrigation, or new technology. Ultimately, this totally well-meaning intervention can accidentally reduce long-term productivity and output, hurting everyone down the line. So it's a very delicate balancing act.
Okay, let's zoom out for a second and look at why this matters for you. Understanding these concepts, demand, supply, equilibrium, intervention, it isn't just academic stuff. It actually helps you see the logic behind the choices people make every single day. Whether it's understanding the price you pay at the grocery store, the jobs available in your city, or the policies your government is implementing, economics provides the tools to think critically. It helps us use resources wisely and make incredibly informed decisions in a complex world where every single choice affects individuals, society, and the wider economy.
I want to leave you with a really profound question straight from our source chapter today. In a democracy, the government is accountable to the people and expected to act in their best interest. So considering everything we've just learned about the delicate balance of buyers and sellers, how should a democratic government decide when and exactly how much it should intervene in markets to protect people's welfare? And whose voices, consumers, producers, workers, or others, should they consider most when making those big decisions? It's a puzzle that goes far beyond the price tag, and it's one we all play a part in solving.